This discussion is brought to you by Tybootha. So we're diving straight in today, looking at a really interesting book.
Yeah, this one came recommended via James Michael. He's the WCCM representative over in Sweden.
Right, the World Community for Christian Meditation. And what's particularly interesting, James pointed this out, is who wrote it.
Exactly. It's not, your typical priest or monk writing about meditation. It's by Julie Roberts, who's actually the WCCM national liaison for the UK.
Okay.
And James felt this was key. It makes the whole approach feel, well, much more accessible, maybe more relatable for the average person thinking about meditation.
That makes a lot of sense. So for this deep dive, we really want to hone in on the core message of her book, Just Turn Up, The Meditator's Companion, a practical guide. That title, Just Turn Up, it seems to capture the essence, right? So we'll unpack what that really means in practice.
Yeah, absolutely. Think of us as kind of digging through it for you, pulling out the key stuff, the insights that really matter.
So you can get the gist quickly.
Exactly. Hopefully giving you a few of those aha moments along the way.
Because let's be honest, life is busy, you're probably juggling a million things, and maybe looking for some practical wisdom without it feeling like, another huge chore.
Right. Finding something that fits. So this idea, just turn up, simple on the surface, but maybe quite deep.
Let's start with the basics then. How does the book actually describe the practice itself?
Well, it lays it out very clearly, using the WCCM's bookmark instructions, essentially. It boils down to this. Sit down, find a still, upright position,
Okay.
eyes lightly closed. You want to be relaxed, but also alert.
Not falling asleep.
Ideally not. And then, silently internally, you repeat a word, Maranatha, as four distinct equal syllables, Maranatha.
Got it.
And the instruction is simply to listen to that sound, that word, as you repeat it. And when you get distracted, you just gently come back to saying the word.
And for how long?
The suggestion is morning and evening for about 20 to 30 minutes each time.
Okay, so listening to you describe it, it sounds incredibly simple. Sit, be still, repeat a word, come back when you wander.
It is, fundamentally.
So here's the thing then. If it is that simple, why do so many of us, myself included sometimes, find it? Well, not always easy to do consistently. What's that disconnect?
Ah, yes. And that is precisely the crux of it, isn't it? That's why the title, Just Turn Up, is so apt. The book really emphasizes that the absolute core, the starting point and the ongoing key, is just the act of showing up, making that commitment to sit down at your chosen time.
Regardless of how you feel or what you expect.
Exactly. Regardless of whether your mind feels calm or like a frantic washing machine, just fulfilling that intention to be there.
That does take a bit of the pressure off, actually. But, it's human nature, isn't it? When we start something new, we kind of expect results.
Oh, definitely.
If someone picks up meditation, hoping, say, after 6 weeks, they'll feel noticeably calmer all the time, what does the book say to that?
Julie Roberts addresses that head on. She makes the point that meditation isn't like learning, say, the guitar, where you can measure your progress by the chords you know.
Right. No clear benchmarks?
It's a much more internal, personal experience. There are no guarantees you'll feel a certain way or achieve some measurable outcome by a certain date.
That kind of goes against the grain of how we usually approach things, setting goals and tracking progress.
It really does.
But the book does mention the fruits of meditation, doesn't it? It draws on Lawrence Freeman's list things like love, joy, peace, patience.
Yes, those qualities. But the key distinction is these aren't usually things you necessarily feel during the meditation sitting itself.
Ah, okay. So where do they show up?
They tend to emerge more subtly, often over time in your day-to-day life, in how you react to situations, how you interact with people. Often it's actually the people around you who might notice a difference first. They might comment that you seem calmer or more patient before you even recognize it in yourself.
So just turn up.
Yeah.
Then isn't about chasing a feeling in the meditation, but about the consistent practice itself, trusting that these wider changes might happen organically.
Precisely. It shifts the focus entirely. And the book has these great reflection questions. One asks, basically, what if you just let go of needing any specific result? Practiced just to practice.
Yeah, that's a powerful reframe. Okay, so if we manage to let go of needing immediate results, what's the next hurdle? I'm guessing it's judging ourselves during the practice.
You nailed it. That tendency to monitor, oh, my mind was so busy today, that must have been a bad meditation, or, wow, fewer thoughts, that was a good one.
Right. keeping score based on distractions.
Exactly. And the book strongly emphasizes that the number of thoughts is not a good measure of anything, really. The spiritual path isn't linear like that.
A wandering mind is just the mind doing its thing.
Pretty much. It's natural. And trying to suppress thoughts often just makes it worse. The instruction is just to return to the mantra gently, without judgment.
There's a story in the book about that, isn't there? About someone sharing a very kind of ethereal experience in an early group.
Yes. And the author, Julie, recounts feeling quite inadequate, thinking, well, nothing like that is happening to me.
Yeah, that feeling of comparison. It's so easy to fall into that.
It really is. So just turn up. Also means showing up with acceptance for whatever that day's meditation brings. No judgment, no comparing it to yesterday or to what you imagine someone else is experiencing.
Accepting this sit just as it is.
And the book brings in this concept of lending belief. It draws on wisdom from figures like John Maine, Meister Eckhart, even St. Paul.
What's the essence of lending belief?
It's about trusting that there's a deeper process at work, beyond our conscious striving, resting in God, as they might put it, and letting that deeper reality do its work within us, rather than us trying to force something.
So less about me achieving something, more about creating this space for something else to happen.
Beautifully put, yeah. There's a lovely little Buddhist story shared, too, about a disciple always pestering his master, asking, have you understood? What's the secret?
And the master's response.
Eventually, the master says something like, I have understood that there's nothing to understand.
So just
Be.
just sit, just turn up. It really brings it back to that simplicity, releasing the pressure to get something or figure it all out.
And again, those reflection questions help. Like, how does it feel if you let go of judging your progress? And what happens when you stop worrying about doing it right? Just thinking about that feels lighter.
It really does, doesn't it? It's quite liberating. Okay, so let's say you manage the expectations, you try not to judge, but then doubts about the method itself can creep in.
Like, is this Maranatha thing really the right word for me? Or maybe I should try that other technique my friend mentioned.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Especially if you're not feeling that immediate peace or stress reduction you might have hoped for, you start questioning the teaching itself.
How does the book address that? It gently reminds us that the basic principles here are ancient, time-tested, found across traditions. It specifically mentions John Maine's reasoning for suggesting Maranatha.
Which was?
Well, Airfor Lawrence Freeman explains it's an ancient Christian prayer word, Aramaic, meaning come Lord, or the Lord comes. Part of the reason it was chosen is that for most people today, it doesn't carry a lot of immediate intellectual baggage or strong emotional connections.
So it's less likely to trigger a stream of associated thoughts.
Kind of, yeah. It's intended purely as a tool, a sound, to gently focus the attention and lead you towards silence. It's not presented as some magic formula.
The mantra is a vehicle, not the destination.
Precisely. And the book acknowledges that our intellects love to analyze and compare. We might be tempted to shop around for the perfect technique.
But the advice is generally to stick with one.
Yes. Generally, finding a simple method you resonate with and then practicing it consistently is seen as more fruitful than constantly switching. Build that path by walking it.
So just turn up. In this sense, means also having a degree of faith in the path you've chosen, trusting the process and the tool, and just keep turning up to use it.
Exactly. Trust the teaching, trust the practice. The book asks, what effect would it have if you simply accept the teachings as they are?
That's a challenge to the analytical mind.
It is. Now, the book is also very grounded. It doesn't pretend meditation happens in some perfect bubble. It explicitly addresses our situation, all the real life stuff.
Like what specifically?
There are chapters or sections touching on your environment, family and friends, mental health challenges, physical health issues, your personal history, current anxieties, even finances, all the messy, real stuff.
Because all of that impacts our ability or maybe our willingness to just sit down.
Absolutely. It acknowledges that sometimes just getting to the cushion is the major achievement.
But the point isn't that meditation makes those things disappear.
Right, not at all. It's not about escape. It's more about how the practice might help us relate to those situations differently, perhaps with a bit more space or perspective.
Is there an example given?
Well, it mentions Eckhart Tolle talking about meditating at Findhorn with jets flying noisily overhead and learning to just let the noise be part of the experience rather than resisting it.
Acceptance again.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it also really highlights the importance of community here. Local meditation groups, the wider WCCM network that support, can be crucial when personal circumstances make practice feel really difficult.
So when life throws curveballs, just turn up. Might mean adjusting your expectations for the session, maybe sitting for a shorter time, or even just connecting with your group for support.
Exactly. It's about finding a sustainable way to keep that thread of practice going even when things are tough. Adapting, but still showing up in whatever way you can.
Which leads naturally to the themes of commitment and perseverance, because life is consistently busy for most of us. Finding the time.
That's often the biggest hurdle, isn't it? The book references Henri Nouwen on consciously creating that space for God or for silence in our schedules.
Making it a priority.
Yes. And Ephra Lawrence Freeman's practical advice is mentioned too. Even 5 minutes is better than nothing. Don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good.
Just start.
Just start. And the idea is to try and weave it into your daily routine, like brushing your teeth. Make it habitual.
But even then, there will be days when it feels like a real slog or like nothing's happening, maybe even a waste of time.
Oh, absolutely. The book is very realistic about that. It talks about perseverance being key, even sharing a lovely anecdote about the Sistency sisters, emphasizing consistency.
I like that.
It even brings up the old monastic concept of acedia.
What's that?
It's sometimes translated as sloth, but it's more like a spiritual weariness, a loss of hope or motivation, feeling demoralized about the practice.
That feeling of what's the point?
Exactly that. And the antidote, according to the book's philosophy, is simply the willingness to start again, to just turn up despite that feeling. That act itself counters the acedia.
So the action precedes the motivation sometimes.
Very much so. And again, practical reflection questions. How do you fit meditation into your routine now? What could make it easier for you to persevere, getting you thinking about your own logistics?
That leads into another practical point the book makes: preparation. Does preparing beforehand actually help?
The book suggests it definitely can. Taking a few moments to consciously transition from the busyness of your day into the quiet of meditation can make it easier to settle.
What kind of preparation are we talking about?
It could be simple things, maybe saying the WCCM opening prayer. Some people find listening to a piece of contemplative music helpful, or a simple chant like, "Be still and know that I am God." Even just taking 3 conscious breaths, maybe focusing on in, out, then deep, slow, then calm ease, as some mindfulness practices suggest.
So a little ritual to signal the shift. It's interesting you mentioned mindfulness. Does the book distinguish that from the meditation it's teaching?
It does touch on that. Often, mindfulness involves paying attention to your thoughts, feelings, sensations, or breath attention on the self in a way. Whereas the goal in this type of meditation, using the mantra, is to gently take the attention off the self, off the thoughts and feelings, and rest in a deeper silence.
Got it. Different emphasis.
Right. So establishing a simple prep routine, whatever works for you, can make it much easier to follow through on the intention to just turn up regularly.
Another reflection question there. What preparation would help you persevere? It keeps bringing it back to the individual.
Yeah, it's very practical in that way. And as you consistently practice, as you keep turning up, the book suggests something deeper starts to unfold.
Which is?
A journey of self-discovery, moving beyond identifying solely with our roles, parent, worker, partner, or our personality traits, and connecting with what the book calls the true self.
The true self. That sounds quite profound.
It is. It touches on the psychological idea of the ego, that sense of I that's necessary for navigating the world, especially when we're younger.
But meditation changes our relationship with the ego.
The idea isn't that the ego disappears entirely, but that its dominance can lessen. We become less identified with it. We gain more awareness of that deeper consciousness, that true self, which is observing the ego.
And that awareness grows simply through the consistent practice, through just turning up.
That's the idea. The consistency allows that gradual shift in perspective. It invites reflection, too. Looking back, have you had glimpses of that true self? Times when you saw there's maybe a different way to be.
It encourages you to look at your own life experience through this lens.
Exactly. And finally, the book connects this inner journey back to the outer world, how meditation relates to action and community.
So it's not just about sitting quietly in a room.
Definitely not. It talks about how the stillness and peace cultivated within meditation become the foundation for how we engage outside of meditation.
How so?
Well, it suggests that from that place of interconnection, our actions can become more considered, more compassionate. It mentions the Dalai Lama saying even a simple smile is a form of service.
That's
And it refers to the WCCM symbol, the two doves.
What do they represent?
The unity of action and contemplation. They're interconnected, flowing from the same source. The peace found in meditation fuels and informs the service we offer in the world.
And the community aspect reinforces this.
Absolutely. Being part of a group, sharing the journey, offers support, encouragement, and reminds us we're not alone. It strengthens that commitment to just turn up, both for ourselves and with others.
It makes the practice less solitary.
For sure. So wrapping it all up, that phrase, just turn up, really does capture the essence, doesn't it? It's about the showing up consistently.
Yeah, letting go of the need for specific results or judging how good a session was.
Trusting the process, trusting the teaching you've chosen.
And persevering, even when it feels difficult or life gets in the way.
Exactly. And remembering, as the book emphasizes, every single meditation is different. The invitation is always to approach it afresh, like a beginner, each time.
Letting go of the baggage from yesterday's sit or the worries about tomorrow's.
Precisely. So, maybe the best way to conclude our deep dive is with that final thought right from the book itself.
Go for it.
Whether we are just starting out on our journey of meditation or are well on the way, all we have to do is to just turn up.
Simple, but profound.
Mm-hmm.
So perhaps something for you, the listener, to reflect on is how this core message of just turn up resonates with you. Not just for meditation maybe, but for any area in your life where showing up consistently is the real key.
Good point. And if you're interested in exploring more, checking out the World Community for Christian Meditation website or seeing if there's a local group could be a good next step.
Definitely worth considering.